Welcome to this season of A Home and Healing for Every Child, a podcast by Adopt Change, operators of Carers for Kids New South Wales. This season is a special one. We're speaking directly with foster and kinship carers, guardians and adoptive parents, creating space for honest conversations about what it really means to open your home and support children and young people in care. I'm your host, Melissa, and I'm really glad you're here. Caring for kids is powerful, meaningful work. It can also be complex and at times challenging. This podcast exists to bring carers together through real-life advice and lived experience. Whether you're just starting out or have been a carer for years, this space is for you. Before we begin, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. I've been a foster carer and adoptive parent for more than 15 years. And over that time, I've supported children through emergency, respite, short and long-term placements, as well as temporary care orders. I'm also an adoptive parent to 2 children. Alongside caring, I contribute as a carer representative with the Sydney Carer Advisory Group. I was delighted to be a co-host, speaker and panellist at the 2025 National Foster and Kinship Care Conference and regularly contribute to the Department of Community and Justice carer training. I also mentor new foster carers and adoptive parents. It continues to be such a privilege and a real joy to care for children. I value the way it grows and strengthens our family, and I'm grateful to be part of a community of carers supporting children and young people to genuinely thrive. This sense of purpose and connection is something I hope comes through in every conversation we have this season. Thanks for listening and for everything you do to support children and young people. Let's get started. Thanks so much for joining us today, Maia. I'm really looking forward to hearing about your foster care journey. And to kick us off, I was wondering what first led you to open your home to children in out-of-home care?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks to Adopt Change for having me as well. I first became a carer about 3 years ago. My husband and I are long-term foster carers, and we have 2 children in our care. But I guess the journey of that was a lot earlier than only 3 years ago. I started thinking about it maybe when I was around 25. I think it was around 2018. And when I was thinking about this morning, I was like, I think that coincides when Instant Family came out, and I really hope that wasn't the catalyst for this whole thing. But yeah, I started thinking about it, knew that was something that I really wanted to do with my life in terms of starting a family. And yeah, at that time, I think I was really keen, and I started volunteering with the Pajama Foundation. So shout out to them. They're amazing, which is in-home mentoring with foster children. And I mentored with them for about 4 years because it wasn't kind of the right time for Sam and I. We'd just started dating, and it was really way too early to be like, hey, do you want to be a foster parent? He was like, do you want to go on a few dates first? So yeah, it ended up kind of a bit of a slow build, but yeah, and then about 3 years ago, it kind of became time that we were actually thinking about that was how we would start a family.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome that you came together to be able to do it, and not kicking it off to begin with before you started dating.
Yeah.
So now that you're into the flow of being a foster family, dare I ask, what does a normal day look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's busy. I would say that, like, it's so busy with having 2 children, and then my husband and I still work full time. So that's working full time, 2 kids, busy activities, all of those things. I guess like the difference between maybe like typical parenting and foster parenting in this way is that our house is always extraordinarily busy. So there's a million people in and out of our house all the time.
Yes.
From like caseworkers to, you know, home inspections from the Carer Support Office, or just, you know, allied health therapists. Anyone and anyone is always in and out of our house, so it can get a bit busy at times. So that is a bit of a busy day, and then just all the other things that go with having kids, like afternoon activities and family dinners, and that's typical family life.
Yes, the new normal becomes normal very quickly. And is there anything in particular during those very, very busy times that surprises you about being a foster carer?
There's so many things that have surprised me about foster care. I think if I go back to more like what surprised me about foster care, I think that it can be like a job. There's like parts of being a foster carer that is really administrative, and, you know, you're kind of a project manager at the same time. You're managing a bunch of different people, and there's a lot of people involved in the decision making in the child's life, which I think is really different from typical parenting. When I talk about it with friends and family, you know, talking about, if I want to go overseas, we have to apply to the government to have a holiday overseas or out of state, things like that. So that kind of a level of administrative care on top of normal parenting is probably the thing that surprised me the most. Even though I was warned, it wasn't like I wasn't misled in that at all. Just kind of how it eventuated in its actual life. Is interesting and surprising.
Yeah, you really don't realise or appreciate it until you're in the thick of it, do you? Just how much paperwork there is. And particularly, you know, for travel and different things, how long it can take to actually get
you've just got to
approval.
start thinking about things like a lot earlier than, you can't be very spontaneous, I would say. In those types of things. I think the only other thing that I was thinking of when prepping for this was around like case planning.
Yes.
I think that's a interesting element. It wasn't surprising. I knew that it was coming.
Yes.
I knew that we would have to do it once a year. But I think it's like, people are going to kill me for saying this, but a really like great thing that we get to do for our children. I think, you know, it's annoying because you have to prep for it, and it's annoying because you've got to go and spend a lot of time, you know, discussing it and stuff, but not a lot of the time, or when I speak to other parents, are they thinking about this time of the year that they get to plan for the entire next year and look at every kind of facet of your child's life.
That's right.
Like, what medical things are they going to need next year, or what's their schooling going to look like, or what relationships are going to be involved in that child's life for the next year. So
yeah, you're right. I mean, it really is like another job, because you've got roles, responsibilities, you're sitting down looking at goals and things like that, but it's also a real positive in the sense that it's not just on the go or ad hoc. You're actually sort of thinking through things more.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many people involved in that. Like when we go to our case plan meetings, there's, you know, usually bio parents, depending on the circumstance, and then case plan, caseworkers, and, you know, maybe the caseworker's manager, or, you know, all of those people. And I just think that that's a really cool thing that you get to do, because you don't feel so alone.
Yes.
In that there's a lot of people involved in those decisions.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way of thinking about it. And it's obvious that you're really on top of it as well too. You must be a really good project manager.
Thank you.
when you in having known you for a little while now too, I know that you're a really strong advocate for young people in care, and particularly across the systems that we're dealing with all the time. As you mentioned, there's lots of people involved, and particularly systems like DCJ and NDIS. What's that journey been like for you? How did it come about?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I think when I was thinking about this, I was thinking like there's probably two parts to this. Just for me personally, I think that there's like this personal element where it directly affects my two children and our family, and the kind of system that they're existing in. And then there's also this kind of systemic advocacy side of it, which I'm also really deeply passionate about. I think when we think of like systems and advocating, I think it's really different on those two different levels. Yes. I think, it's the personal side, you're advocating for someone you love.
Yes.
So, you're very personally involved in that process. You're, thinking about the best interests of that child who you know and love and are so connected to. So it's really hard to not be so passionate and like, I guess, emotional about the decisions that are being made if they're not positive.
Yes.
So you're kind of working within that system. I think one of the things that I've always, done in those times is made sure that I had all of the information. I would always go into DCJ meetings, NDIS meetings, so overplanned. So I knew what I was asking. I knew what I could get. And I had all the facts.
Yes.
So that's a part of advocating, I think, is making sure that I'm in the best, I have the best knowledge to have those conversations to advocate for them personally. And then as well, like when it doesn't go your way or you don't get everything you want, trying to be really pragmatic about that and not get too kind of upset or because, that to me doesn't help that situation.
Yes, definitely.
NDIS meetings, everyone dreads them. But going in and having a really good understanding of where the funding has been spent the year before is a really good way to advocate for the next year.
Yes.
Or to give case for support around which areas you need more funding for. I think working with allied health professionals in our circumstance and having a really great wider team has been, and building those relationships as well. Making sure that you have a really solid foundation with them so that when you're going into those meetings, they've backed you up in all the supporting documentation and, you have really clear goals of what you want for that child. So we do that every year. And then, case planning as well, like making sure that I know exactly what I can ask for within the kind of 5 to 7 subjects that they cover in the case plan meetings. Is like knowing what's available in the PSP packages, what care allowance, what it can be spent on, those types of things, so that I know when I'm going in there.
Yes.
And if I have an ask, that it's going to be, I have something to back it up. I can be like, this is how it relates to the code of conduct, or this is how it relates to this policy, or, I don't know, not everyone has that time, or, like it's, but I guess that's advocating for me.
No, absolutely. And you sound extremely well prepared for every possible scenario.
I'm really not. I promise I'm not that prepared, but
you.
I just, want to make sure that I know all the right questions to ask, and I, feel like I have my children's best interests.
Yes, absolutely. That's at the core of it. And you spoke about, how important it is to build relationships.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that? Because you're right, you want as many people backing you as possible when you go in the room.
Yeah.
But some of these people you don't even see that often. How do you build a relationship with someone that you're seeing on a professional level to then be, the ultimate backer for you when you go into a meeting?
I think it's looking at those systemic policies and having those as your backing. If you don't have the ability to have like a personal relationship with those people that you're only seeing, once a year,
yes,
it's always having kind of, being able to lean on the policy and system that they've, not them, but, the system has created.
Yes, yeah. You can tell by, everything that you're saying, obviously the kids are at the core of everything that you're doing, and obviously you're trying to create a very positive and stable environment for them. What other things do you do to create stability for the kids in your care?
Great question. I hope that we create a really loving home. Have worked extensively on building great relationships and trust with our kids. That's like, I think, just that trust piece is one of the biggest things you can do. We're pretty structured and routined. I think we're firm but fair in our household and how we run our household. But yeah, there's always a lot of love at the core of it, I would say.
I'm sure.
So it's a bit of, 50-50, I guess.
Hey, Fern, do you remember what that support service that offers training, resources, and support for carers is called?
You mean Carers for Kids New South Wales?
Yes, that's the one. And it's all free, right?
All free, all confidential, so you can access support whenever you need it.
Amazing. How do I contact them?
I'm pretty sure it's 1300 782 975, or you could visit their website, carersforkidsnewsouthwales.org.au.
And is there anything in particular that you think is a really good way to build trust in those early days?
Yeah, I think just being there is one, just showing up all the time. Like, and there'll be so many, well, there were so many days that it felt like I didn't want to turn up. I'm sure you've been there. I think any parent can attest to that, but it's, just consistently turning up. And there's always been those, I think, like some of the core moments are like, now the progress of that is that, I can instantly walk in the door and tell if my daughter's had a bad day.
Yes.
And not a lot of people in her life have ever had that, known her like that.
Yes.
So I'll walk in the door and I'll be like, what's up? Are you okay? And, she's instantly, she looks at me and she's like, oh, you've got me.
Yes.
Like, you love me. So it's that, I think, just constantly showing up has kind of reaped this beautiful reward of like this lovely relationship that we have and trust and bond.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think when you finally get to reach those sorts of moments, even if they're fleeting.
Oh, definitely fleeting.
you know that you're in a good spot and doing it for the right reasons.
Definitely.
But, you spoke about the harder days. What keeps you going? Why do you keep coming back?
Definitely coffee, I would say, is the thing that gets me up every single day. Me and my husband have this like contract where he has to bring me a coffee in the morning, and that's like, if that's the one thing that he could do for me every day, and then it's the best. And he does. He's amazing. So that's the starting point. And then I think, like I said, those structures and routines, we've built on them so much, and they're so ingrained in our family that even when it's a hard day, everyone knows what to do.
Yes.
So that's a really good thing that we have in our family. And I think, anyone who's trauma informed would kind of know how important routines are to children who haven't had that a lot. And there's been so many times when it's been hard, but then you come out the other end of it and you're just like, wow, we did that, and it was so worth it. So,
yes.
I don't know if that's called crazy, but
well, I think I know myself with your partner. You have to have sort of clear sort of support lines when you can play tag, and if that tag is first up in the morning with a cup of coffee, that those routines for us are really important.
Definitely
as well too. What sorts of other supports other than coffee are helpful?
Community, I would say we're so fortunate that we have this amazing community of people around us. Mm-hmm. We're very lucky we have our parents who are still really involved in our children's lives and our lives, friends and family. I shared this at the conference, but I feel so lucky that this has happened to me. But in those early days when I was thinking about doing volunteering with the Pajama Foundation, I was having this conversation with someone about how I wanted to be a foster carer at work, and I literally just turned to the colleague next to me and I was like, and I'm thinking about doing this, blah, blah, blah. And my other colleague just popped up over her computer and she was like, me and my husband have just become foster parents. And I was like, no way, that's amazing. And from there, they had moved into the same area as us. And then, this is over 9 years ago, and I just now have a best friend that is a foster carer. And we just bounce off each other all the time. I'm like, is this normal? Is this how it's meant to be? And she's the same. And, it's she's just such a great support network for me. Our children are similar ages as well. So they're like built-in best friends, which is awesome. Family, yeah, community. And I think like in our circumstance, that NDIS and kind of extended allied health, I'm the utmost biggest believer of let the experts do it. Like if you're not the expert, don't do it. It's not, don't waste your time.
Yes.
I had this experience with my daughter, and I was trying to get her to ride her bike, like to teach her how to ride a bike. And, I really wanted her to ride a bike so that we could, ride bikes together. And it's a great childhood experience.
Yes.
And, we're both getting so frustrated at each other. And I was like, how am I going to teach this kid to ride a bike? It's not. And I was like looking at myself, I'm like, am I failing here? I'm sure she felt like she was failing. And I was like, we've got to get an expert. I was like, it can't be me. So we ended up getting her physio to help teach her how to ride a bike. And, it took like 12 months, but she got it. And,
yes.
Now we go bike riding together. But I'm just like the biggest believer of letting experts step in when it's not your gig.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And before it, damages a relationship.
We were looking at each other
anything.
like, what are we doing here? Me and you are not going to be able to do this together. And I was like, do you know what? That's fine.
Yes.
And she got it in the end. So it was,
Well done.
Thank you.
I think you mentioned something that, my other half and myself have really noticed is that having friends that are also foster carers makes a massive difference.
Definitely.
Because you do need somebody else that in the middle of the night when you think, I can't really reach out to my emergency person at my agency or whatever,
yes.
I just have a really dumb question, but I have to ask it.
Yeah.
Another foster carer's not going to care what sort of question it is. They've probably thought it themselves.
Or been through it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really fortunate to be on the Care Advisory Board group for Care for Kids New South Wales, which I absolutely love doing. And we have this group chat, and I literally sometimes am like, hey, Brains Trust, has anyone dealt with this? Or like, what do we do here? And it's just like experts of people who won't judge you, who have, like you said, probably been through exactly the same situation.
Yes.
And really just care and know what you're going through. So it's, I think other carers are definitely such an important part of that community and network.
Definitely. I don't think I've met a foster carer yet who didn't want to share some good advice with me. Definitely. And I don't think I've met a foster carer who doesn't want to take it on board either.
Absolutely.
Which is fabulous. So thinking about that and thinking about, people who might be interested in foster care, if you're on the other side of that office partition, what are you going to highlight for them? How are you going to encourage their interest?
For sure. Look, I think do it. It's if you have an inkling that it's something that you could do, that you could open your home to do, that you feel would be right for your family, look into it and do it. There's 43,000 plus children nationally in Australia who need a home.
Yes.
There's a lot of homes out there. There's a lot of loving parents or parents to be, or who could do it. I would highly recommend doing it. It's incredibly rewarding. There is nothing like even just that example of the bike riding, seeing a child who has never had a bike,
yes,
never had an opportunity to ride a bike,
yes,
to start an activity. To want so badly to do it and try so hard to do it,
yes,
despite everything that's happened in their life, and then for them to achieve something. That's just an analogy of like the million things that my children have blown me away that they've learnt and done. Like it's the most rewarding feeling.
Yes.
And I would say just do it. I would say go in with open eyes. Make sure that you feel like trauma-informed parenting is the type of parenting that you would like to do.
Yes.
When I say trauma-informed, sometimes people go, so you're a gentle parent. And I was like, absolutely not. I can be gentle, but I'm not a gentle parent. I'm definitely a therapeutic parent.
Yes.
Definitely going into that with open eyes about what that can look like. And yeah, just how much kind of administrative work, extra work that goes into being a foster parent. But I would say the love and care that you get and get to give outweighs that so much.
And what if they go, so what is therapeutic parenting?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, the best way to describe that is that someone's having a complete meltdown next to you, but you've just got to sit there and kind of help them through it. And yeah, or someone on their worst day, they're having their worst day of their life.
Yes.
And you've got to be, not got to be, but you want to be in the vicinity of that person to try and help them and using really, like firm boundaries around what's right and wrong, those types of things. Like, yes, you can have a really bad day, but unfortunately you can't punch me.
Yes, yeah.
Those types of things, that's not okay. Yeah, and just taking that really therapeutic lens on everything, like why is the child doing that rather than they're doing it to me or that
Yes.
they're doing it for, a malicious reason or whatever. It's taking more of that like empathetic approach and like understanding what's going on in the brain or, what might have happened in that child's life to make them, do what they're doing or it's a hard question to answer. There's so many circumstances.
No,
But,
absolutely. And obviously, you're well informed because thankfully for us, there's lots of different training and supports and things that we can do. I know when my partner and I first started, it wasn't even called, trauma-informed parenting or therapeutic parenting or anything. So we kind of had to go back and start again.
Yeah, and I mean, the training is amazing. That's another, I think, element of foster care that, when our children came home with us, I felt like that experience of when newborn children go home from the hospital, like it was me and my husband and 2 kids in the back and all of their stuff. And we were like, what are we doing?
Yes.
But imagine all of that, but you get all this therapeutic parenting training before you get to do that. So you're a bit more informed. I think maybe parent training should be for everyone.
Absolutely. And the good thing is that it's always there too, so you can reach out at any point for specific things. So even, as you said, you reach out to the physio, but you might also reach out because you're like, I have no idea what's going on here. And funnily enough, you might actually find, a course or something that's exactly on what you need to know.
Yeah, I think as well they're evolving.
Yes,
like ages,
definitely.
Different ages have different challenges and things like that. So you're always got this. I mean, Care for Kids New South Wales has this amazing library of resources that you can go to and watch webinars, and it's ongoing, which I think is awesome. Not a lot of parents have that opportunity.
No, and there certainly seems to be. I know. Again, having done this for a while, but there's more and more courses all the time. And when you do flick through, you kind of go, oh, wow, that's exactly what we're experiencing. I didn't even realize there was a name for it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've had so many achievements throughout this journey, but can you tell us a little bit about some of the highlights that you've experienced with your children?
Yeah, I was going to use the bike riding analogy because I do think that's an important one, but
Absolutely.
I just honestly, anything and anything my kids have done just makes me the proudest person in all of the world. I'm like that person who cries at the school assembly and like people who know me, I'm not a crier. Like I'm not a highly emotional person, but my kids bring that out in me, which is amazing. But yeah, just anything that they do, I just think is like the bee's knees. They impress me every week. I did speak a little bit before about having kind of NDIS involvement. I think often with NDIS or disability, there's boxes and parameters on what you can kind of expect. And I know through this journey we've had a few moments where, we've been on the phone to a clinician and they're saying, oh, it could look like this or it could look like that.
Yes.
And you feel this kind of overwhelming sense of like grief and worry in those moments. But both of my children have far exceeded any expectation that has been put on them, which is, and they make me proud all the time. So anything that they do is amazing.
Yes.
And I get to just experience that. There's these boxes and then they just pass straight through it and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. They're just the best. So
That's wonderful. And I think, as a family, being able to share those moments and celebrate those moments is so important. But I often think that a person from the outside must go, what?
Yeah.
We might celebrate someone sat still for 10 minutes or something.
100%.
Or actually smiled getting out of the car, going
Got through
somewhere.
a meal.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's the little things.
Yeah. Speaking of celebrations, one of the things we do in our family is a famiversary. So the day our placement officially started on all of the documents. So every year on November 13th, we have a cake and we all sit around and celebrate that we're a family, and it's like our family's birthday. So
that's lovely. I think that I know my calendar's littered with the first phone call day when I found out that you were going to come and join us, to first met you, you first came home to us, all of those sorts of things. And it's so special.
Definitely.
And you can, see that it's important to the kids as well too.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing so many highlights, but also really rich, important things that are really valuable. I think I'll be putting my project management hat on a little bit more for all my meetings now and trying to be prepared as Maya. You'll be my new gold standard.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening to this episode of a Home and Healing for Every Child podcast. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to having you join us for the next episode. Stay up to date with the latest news, stories, training and upcoming events by subscribing and following along on our socials at Adopt Change or Carers for Kids New South Wales.